Yo, 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 yo. Yo, 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 yo. I probably should have thought of something better for this.
I agree.
Happens from time to time. Graham Banks!
Hello, how are you?
Oh, yeah, right. Welcome to episode 291 of the Should I Play This Game podcast for this, the 27th of November. Ooh. Penultimate episode for the year?
Mm, Probably, because I think we're both out next weekend. And then so probably not going to do much video recording next weekend. I'll just adjust my mic briefly. And then maybe the week after we can do one more podcast. Then maybe one more video recording
Week
session
after that
before.
is my last week of work.
So yeah, I think probably will be the second last episode podcast of the year. So yeah,
There you go.
is what
Penultimate
it is.
episode. Boom. Accurate usage of the word.
Yes.
So we had some fun little times trying to getting started. Like there was some late arrivals home, some lunches trying to be had, and then your headphones once again took a bit of a shit.
Yep.
And now they're working because of cables. Ah!
Plugged in.
Oh no!
Hopefully, they will stay plugged in. We shall see.
This is where it's like, this is why we have wireless shit. God damn it!
Yep.
All fun and games until someone's headset dies.
Yep. So let's get it cracking real quick, just in case it does die again on me.
Yes, let's get into the games. So, what have you been playing for the last 2 weeks, sir?
Let me do that. Yeah, that's not what I wanted. I wanted that first. Then that.
There you go.
There we go.
Close enough.
Close enough.
Oh, shock of all shocks.
Yep. So I have been playing a fair bit of this. So I think since we... When did we last podcast? Let me just quickly check.
2 weeks ago, I didn't drink anything from my can. I was about to. It's near the end. 2 weeks ago was our last podcast. Then we didn't do a duos recording last week because you had just gotten back from
That's
the
right.
Melbournes.
Yeah, so I have been away in Melbourne for the weekend. Last weekend, I went to see Dave O'Brien, a comedian from Ireland, in Melbourne. That was really cool, really funny. So I've been playing a fair bit of the games that we're about to look at. The first one being My Time at Sandrock. I think I'm now close to 20 hours in this thing. And I have no idea how far through the game, quote unquote, I am, or through the story I am, because it doesn't really, present that as a measurable thing. It's just, it's a really good game. I'm enjoying a lot of it. They've got a lot of if you played My Time at Porsche, you know an awful lot what's in this game in terms of the mechanics. They have added a little bit to it in terms of the building mechanics of it, which is the main part of the game. They've got a bunch more machines. I think there's like close to 80 different machines you can actually build in the game overall. Not currently in the early part of my game, but when the game is finished, I think I'll have 80 things I can build. Mechanics where you build them is exactly the same. You've got furnaces and grinders and stuff to make the materials from raw materials to put into the thing you're trying to make. They have added a new mechanic to it in that you need to have a source of water to keep the machines from not overheating, which kind of I can understand that from a machine perspective. They didn't have that in the last game. The big problem with that is that you're in a place called Sandrock, and by its name, ain't much water around. So you've got to do various things to help with maintaining the water, and you can't just go and take it willy-nilly because the townsfolk get really upset when you do that. So in terms of that, that's probably the only big sort of change they made to the actual building mechanics is they've added that as a sort of a secondary fuel source, because you still need to feed the actual machines themselves a fuel. So you've got those two things. You've got to feed them the actual individual machines a fuel to let them run and do their thing, plus also have water supplying all of your machines from a central point. So it's like you have this water tank on your plot of land, and anything you build is just automatically connected to it. there's no pipes. You don't lay pipes or anything like that. They just work sort of thing by magic, basically. It seems. So yeah, like it's a pretty neat little. It's an extra mechanic that does make sense considering what you're doing. And in terms of the story stuff, it's been fairly straightforward so far. The common day-to-day thing you're doing is these commission builds, which are basically the citizens of Sandrock want you to build X things. You go build them. You get a bit of coin for it. You get a bit of reputation for you. You get a bit of reputation for your actual company, for something with your actual company who does all the building, and you get a relationship bonus with that particular character. And depending on what type of character it is and what type, what you're playing as, that can either lead to romantic stuff or not. Basically, depending on what the type of. So some characters you can't romance at all, and some you can, basically. So yeah, like it's that's the same mechanics from the previous game. No different there. They seem to have made, I think, in the early part of my time at Porsche, they have this sort of like a pseudo leaderboard with the other builders around the city. In the first game, that took an awful long time to get from the bottom to just into the top 3, where you start actually earning bonuses by being in the top 3. That took ages, my perception of what it was in the previous game. After this, like I'm saying, 50, 60 hours before you got into that level. Like I played that game for, I think, close to 200 hours. Whereas I think it took, my memory was about a third of the way or quarter through the whole game. I finally got into that top 3. I've already gone into the top 3 already. I mean, I think I'm already second now. So they've made that process quicker. It seems
like super streamlined.
Super streamlined, and so I think you get a lot more, benefit to doing those sort of commissions than you
like
did
reputationally and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, than you did, I think, in the first game. I think they made them more valuable to do, and I think you also start getting some of the higher value ones quicker than you did in the first game. That's a complete perception. Don't quote me on that at all. I haven't played that game for a long time, so that's just my perception of it. So yeah, in terms of that, like as I said, they haven't played the game beyond that. It's pretty similar. Still got the same. You still got quest lines you can do that are the story ones, which you can take as much time as you want to do. Basically, once you complete that, the story moves along. But you can do 10 days of commission based ones before even doing the first part of a story based one. So there's no time sink on those. Whereas there's normally a time limitation on the commission ones you pick up. That might be, say, you've got 3 in-game days to complete this particular build. Otherwise, there's no real penalty for missing it. You just lose a bit of reputation, basically, with your store and with that particular person who wanted that particular, commission sort of thing. Beyond that,
there'd be a limited number of those commissions, though, wouldn't there?
No, they're randomised, basically.
Oh, they're just procedurally generated.
Yeah, it's like I've had the same one multiple times. So you might have, build 10 copper bars, and I think I've had that 3 or 4 times now to the same person. So they just when you can only take when you first start doing them, you can have 1 a day. Then as you sort of rank up, you can make 2 a day sort of thing. I'm on 2 a day at the moment, and so what I'll generally do is each morning I'll grab the 2 most easiest or ones that are valuable to do that are still going to be easy. It's like if it's got to take a lot of work to do, then I've only got 3 days to do it. Then I'm probably not going to worry about it. Depends on the build, of course.
Cost risk benefit.
Yep, exactly. So basically you do that, and you'll get 50 to 100 reputation points for your store, for your builder shop out of that, doing those couple. And while you're doing that, you might be going off and collecting more materials for the next part of the big build you're doing, which is a story-based build, or you're doing a side mission that isn't, which isn't necessarily even based on a build. It's just go and do something. So yeah, it's pretty sort of routine stuff in reality, and it's I'm not too sure what with the term cozy game comes to mind as what you might call this. It's not technically that, because that's normally more of a. This is a game where you can get
that Valley game from last year.
Yeah, like Cozy Grove, I think is one I played last year or the year before.
That's the one.
So that sort of thing is where you can keep playing. The routine is the same, in-game day to next in-game day, with some variation along the way.
A warm hug.
Yeah. So you can just, that's what I'll end up doing is I'll just do this is what I was doing when I was in Melbourne because I had downtime, between what I was doing. Is I'll just go to the hotel, turn on the ally, and go right. Let's do a couple of in-game days worth, and an hour later, hour and so later, okay, I've done that. It's not time for tea. I'll do a couple more in-game days, and you sort of just keep getting that routine and just keep doing it, and the hours can just sort of, drop away really quickly. So yeah, I'm really, really enjoying it. I mean, they've done a lot of, as I said, the game itself is not much different from the first one, and to be honest, I don't know if it needed to be, because that game was a really, really, was a fun game to play, and this one's no different.
So it just seems like they've just improved the pacing of things rather
I
than
think
it taking fucking hundreds of hours.
Yeah, exactly, and I think that's the big benefit from what they've done. Is I think they've just made the thing a little bit easier to play, a little bit quicker to get into it, a little bit quicker to get to the quote unquote good parts of the game where you start doing the mining through the thing. So still have these what they call abandoned ruins, which is basically where you can go and collect a bunch of more raw materials, and you can just start it. You just basically go, okay, I'm gonna sit. Because you've also got a stamina meter on your character, which gets higher as you level up. And if you run out of stamina, you can't basically hit anything. You can't hit an enemy. You can't hit any mineable materials. So one thing will be, okay, I'm going to do a couple of commissions, get them overdone with really quickly. They don't take stamina to do. They just build stuff. Right, I've now got most of the in-game day left to do. I'm going to go do some mining until I run out of energy, basically. Then once you've run out of energy, gone down as far as you can go down in that period of time, collect a whole bunch of raw materials that you're going to need for the next 10 in-game days worth, or something specific that you might have come across, because there might even be story-based missions that said go and grab. They've got these things called relics, which essentially the game is as with My Time and Porsche, is based using the future, so that when they talk about the history, they actually talk about our time frame, our timeline sort of thing.
Oh.
So they're talking about materials from the old, our times, which is basically us. So you'll find things in like little relics from little model toys of things that we might have played with as a kid, kind of thing, like model spaceships and stuff like that. So there was a mission to find three of those. So the winner just dived and found three of them pretty relatively quickly. And then from then you can just go back to the main base or your main shop, put all your materials in boxes you can have to keep carrying them. You've got a limited inventory on board, so to speak, and then rinse and repeat, basically. And you go, right, I've now got enough materials where I can do the next story-based mission because I'm ready to do the next story beat. Do it and then sort of move on, and then rinse and repeat, basically, until the whole story is done. I'm just going to hit my headset again because I fell out.
Yeah, do that. Yeah, this is one of the potential drawbacks when you got wireless technology, and sometimes the chargers are fucked. And is that a USB-C?
No, it's a USB, little tiny A one from years ago. The old.
Like micro USB.
Micro USB, yeah. I think the problem is
that. Once those tabs on that get fucked.
I think that's also weighing it down. That little thing there, so it keeps on falling.
Yeah, there's little. If people haven't seen them for a while, the little micro USBs have like little triangular sort of teeth, almost that sort of grab and clip. Either if they wear, or like you said, like a dongle type of thing that sort of weighs it, it's just gonna go. Boop.
Yep. So.
Which makes it kind of fucking annoying. Moving on.
Yeah, so that's
what's gonna happen with this when SteamWorld Build comes out?
Well, I'll be away when SteamWorld Build comes out. I think.
Get out of town.
I think
it literally is.
Yeah. I think that game is that 3rd of December, 5th of December.
Friday.
Well, I might get it still. I might be okay.
You should be able to still grab it on the old ROG. And,
it depends on
hotel Wi-Fi or something.
Yeah, that's the issue. Is if where I am, when it comes out, sort of thing. So 2nd
cellular Wi-Fi. Boom. Use your mobile phone.
So it's the 2nd December. Oh, that is Friday, isn't it? Yeah. Or.
Well, sort of Friday night-ish. It'll be about 10 o'clock Friday night our time.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm going back over to Melbourne for a work trip on Sunday, so I'll be able to get it. So yeah, basically I'll stop playing it. Is the upshot of that. I thought it was going to be way when it came out, but yeah. So Steam will take over, which is fine. But I'll still probably play this while I'm away because I'm away until
of course.
I'm away for like 5 or 6 days, or 5 days, something like that. So yeah, it'll still get a bit of a Guernsey, but yeah, the main thing will be Steam will build.
Building different things in different places. Boom, done.
Basically, yeah.
Speaking of building,
still doing. Yep, still doing. Still doing Talos Principle 2. Nothing more really to say with that one.
moving on. No.
It's really. I mean, I'm really enjoying that. The puzzles are really, are good. I think the story. I think the story is. What's the word I'm looking for? Told better than the first one. That makes sense. It's.
Okay.
I think it's just told in a more clearer way as to what the story is. I think.
It seems more direct in its storytelling because most of the storytelling from the first one was from like diary entries and shit like that.
Yeah.
Whereas this, you straight up have conversations happening in front of you and you're involved in conversations.
Correct. Yeah. So that's why I think it's a bit more direct in that. But the actual mechanics themselves are really good. I like the new mechanic where they've done the RGB. I think it's splitter connector, whatever they call it, come up with the terminologies, where you can basically join several colours together to make a different colour.
Which fucked me up in the demo when we did that video. That made no sense to me.
The colours don't actually make proper sense, if that makes sense. So you don't.
No, they don't.
They don't.
It fucked me up.
So you just got to write down what they do and then remember that in the future. So it's not.
Green and blue don't make red. What the fuck?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm still enjoying it. It's probably taken a bit down the wayside because of my time in Porsche and the next game, which is American Arcadia.
Yes, I have seen you playing this a bit. Has Shadow Gambit just not got back to that yet?
No, I'm not gone back to it. I will eventually. It's on my list.
Last 2 pieces of content coming out this month.
Yeah, I wasn't aware they were going to do that, so I'm glad they've done something. So I might wait until they're out and then.
Free too.
Yeah, which is good. So I have started and finished American Arcadia.
Pretty short from what I gather, 6-ish?
6 to 7 hours I think I played it, maybe 8. I went back and did bit of achievement hunting until I just got bored of doing that. So yeah, I think the actual game is maybe 8.
A Graham 8 or an actual 8?
No, an actual 8. 8 hours, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
With the other people.
Graham 8 hours, maybe the game's like 3 or 4 hours long.
Yeah, no, I don't think I think you're probably looking between 6 and 8 for
That's kind of what I'm thinking.
This game is fucking brilliant. I love this game. This game is awesome.
Narratively or gameplay-wise or aesthetically?
Everything about it is
above.
just all the above.
He's got to put the cable in again.
Drive me fucking crazy.
I got a feeling that even if we don't want it to be, the title for this episode is just going to be "Put the cable back in."
Cable back in, yeah.
Put the cable back in is going to be end up default title.
Sorry. So this game is essentially is a puzzle platformer, I guess is what you call it.
How intense are the puzzles?
Not really that hard. No, they're not.
You're right.
They're not Talos Principle hard at all. How do I even describe it? So the most part is you control 2 characters in this game. So looking at that screenshot, you can see we've got the middle character, this guy here. He is Trevor Hills. He's the character you control for most of the game, and you control him in a side left to right sort of side-scrolling character. You also control.
He's got a very lovely Argyle sweater vest.
Yes. So you also control this character, who's called Angela, and you control her in left hand.
You're moving your mouse around, circling.
Yeah. So it's on the female character, the left on the left-hand side of the screenshot.
Yep, that one. Yep, gotcha.
So, and when you play as her, you play in the first person.
Fuck, alright.
Yeah, so the premise of this game is, I think it's probably well known by now, so I don't think it's a spoiler per se, but American Arcadia is basically the Truman Show. That's what this game is purely based on.
Sort of like a 1970s Truman Show, isn't it?
Basically, it's a 1970 Truman Show, so it's set in 2023, but the American Arcadia, which is a huge dome city, is basically in the 1970s still in terms of, at least in terms of style, but not necessarily in tech, because they've got lots of little service droids around them doing stuff for people.
I was going to say, fuck, that really is Truman Show.
Yeah, so it's the setting is basically a Truman Show. It takes a lot of stuff from the Truman Show, you can imagine, in terms of not mechanics, obviously, but in terms of just the presentation, what they're doing, that kind of stuff.
Like the narrative themes, all that sort of stuff.
Well, not so much narrative themes, because it is the same thing. You are trying to escape with Trevor. Jim Carrey's character in that show was also trying to escape. That's probably ultimately where the similarities sort of end, in terms of the narrative similarities. The motivations for both characters are fairly different, although somewhat same. But yeah, so in terms of the action, I'm not going to go any further. I think the story is actually really, really good.
Sweet.
And the story went in a direction that I didn't think it was going to be. And I didn't think the ending wasn't how the ending got. The ending itself, I think, was probably how it was going to end. Was not a surprise per se. How it got there was, though. If that kind of makes sense. There are a couple
in
of
a good way or a bad way?
Oh, God, good way. Good way. It wasn't. It wasn't predictable, is what I'm getting at. I thought it was going to be. This is what's going to happen. This is what's going to happen. Not really. It didn't. So the mechanics of the gameplay is, for the most part, is just you're controlling Trevor, walking left to right, occasionally going right to left, but and jumping up and through platform stuff. But what also can happen is during that time, Angela, who's the female character on the left, is also monitoring you by watching you on a camera feed, basically, because she's one of the people outside of the Dome City who's part of the whole production of the show, essentially, because the whole thing is based on a show.
Oh, she's an inside job.
Oh, yes, she is. Yeah.
Ah. Yeah, okay, it's a little bit different from the Truman Show.
Yeah, I think for fuck's sake, bug that cable. Hopefully I'll seal on the headset lasts.
There we go.
Yeah, so essentially once that's sort of established, you then can use. She can then, you press the right stick on the controller, and you're then viewing Trevor through her monitors. You can still control Trevor. Okay. You can still control Trevor to a degree, or to most of the extent you can still control him. But you're also affecting, with her stuff, you can affect the environment around him. So So, classic example, you might have, he's walked into a room and he can't see anything. Okay, so with Angela can control and turn on a light and move that light so you can see what it's doing. Then with that sort of picture-in-picture kind of a thing, where you're looking at the camera, looking at the video feed and seeing Trevor in it, you can move Trevor still. So it ends up seeing a bit of, so using the right stick to interact with the monitor feed, and using left stick to control Trevor. So it sort of ends up being, there are some situations where you've got to do, rubbing your stomach and tapping your top of your head kind of stuff at the same time. So it almost comes into being a little bit like, remember that game from probably close to, it has to be 5 or 6 years ago now, and his name completely escapes, where you're controlling two characters with, the brothers, and what's that? Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons. Yeah, that one. So it's basically a little bit like that in terms of some of the mechanics. You're doing a lot of, doing two things at once kind of thing with two different characters and, controlling them individually.
Solo player co-op.
Yeah. So then so that's what a lot of the thing is, where you're just running along as Trevor, jumping, platform puzzling, that kind of stuff, flicking in and using Angela's ability to manipulate the environment a little bit. She can't do a real lot, but she can do a fair bit. And then once you're playing as Angela, you're playing in the first person, and you're just basically moving around the environment to do the next thing, which helps Trevor move, where he's sort of stuck, sort of thing.
Is he vulnerable in those circumstances?
No, he's not. So there's no time limit on, like, if you take a long time, it doesn't matter.
But there's no state where he's, oh shit, I'm caught by security. Oh fuck.
No. There is when you're controlling the environment around him and you sort of screw up and he will get shot by drones and stuff. But no, if you're playing as Angela, he's just basically stuck in time where he is and nothing happens to him basically. So when you've got this dual control thing happening, it flicks back and forth between the two perspectives it flows really, really well.
Cool.
You're not doing Trevor Hill's left to right running for ages and ages, and then occasionally flipping to her first person perspective. You're going back and forth in a relatively frequent enough clips that one doesn't overstay welcome and one's not too short, sort of thing. They just got
a
that
nice pacing.
There's a nice balance and pacing to it that it's just really, really good. And because you've got that sort of dual control mechanic, for want of a better term, there's some really, really neat scenes that happened. There's one scene where you're as Angela, you're being interrogated by someone from American Arcadia's production team, so to speak. And at the same time, you're answering questions to him. You're in the left-hand side of your screen, watching Trevor or helping Trevor or controlling Trevor to move through another environment at the same time as answering questions and literally doing like three things at once.
Are there dialogue choices then?
Not really dialogue choices. No, you're answering questions. You've just been told to answer. The story's incredibly linear. There's no choices. There's not even collectibles. There's nothing like that at all.
Shit! Where's the achievement hunting then?
The achievement is in just story-based stuff. Is all achievements. Unmissable, essentially. And there's also things like there's one where you wake up as Trevor in his house, and there's an alarm clock, and it's telling you to press the button to wake up. So if you let it go for like 30, 40 seconds, he just wakes up himself. That's an achievement for not.
Okay.
So that's stuff like that. I mean, there's a bunch of there's probably a dozen or so. I think it's 28 achievements or something like that in the game. I don't care about achievements anymore, so I played a bit. I just get what I can during the game. I thought went back and I started doing some, but it just became too much. You can repeat sections. You've got scene selection. You can repeat scenes and not have to worry about sort of anything like that. So you won't miss anything if you do it. I started doing that. I thought, why am I doing this? I'm wasting time doing this. So
you're basically just replaying the game again to a certain extent.
You're replaying one section of the game just to do one thing slightly differently to get an achievement. I just once I realised that's what I was sort of doing, I thought, bugger this, I'll finish the game, I'm done now. But yeah, so that's really the mechanics of it. Is you've got this dual puzzle mechanic. You're also doing puzzle stuff as Angela as well. Which is obviously from a first person perspective, so it's different puzzles, but still puzzles nonetheless. And as you said with Trevor, you're doing platforming, running, and stuff like that. Visually, the game is really, really cool. It's got that sort of angular, not polygon sort of stuff, but it's angular, very, very straight line.
You can tell from the key art that's on the screen, it's very much that sort of 1970s vibe.
Yeah, like it's got a lot of that sort of stuff to it, and it's just a really good, solid. It's just a really solid game. Like it is really, really good. I'd highly recommend it to anybody.
I have got it on deck. I have got it in my Steam library.
Yeah, it's a game worth playing. As I said, I knocked it off in I think 3 sessions. So I played it after work a couple of times for a couple of hours. I think so you could easily you could marathon this game in one sitting if you wanted to.
Yeah, yeah.
If it's not that long, you could do that, and it's I think it's like $30 Australian. I think it was.
I think I got it for 20 some odd, 28 or something.
Might have been
$29.50.
Yeah, so it's $29.50.
Its actual price, and I think it was like 10-15% off on launch.
Yeah. This is also by the same people that made Call of the Sea Call of the Sea from a couple of years back. So, yeah. So I would recommend it. That price is really good. If you get it on sale, even better. I really, really rate the game highly, very, very highly. I think it's perfect. Not perfect. It's a bloody good game. It's
good for what it's good for.
Yeah, it's good for it's good value for money. You're not going to get a lot of replayability out of it. The only one criticisms I would have against it would be that some of the sections where you're playing as Trevor do get a little bit repetitive in what you're doing in them, and they do drag a little bit in terms of how long you're doing some of them for. It's kind of borderline in really a lot of that stuff. I think once you do a section, you're sort of out of it, sort of thing. The voice acting is really good. In fact, the voice actor of Trevor is the voice actor of Spider-Man. Same guy.
Yuri Lowenthal?
Yep, same guy.
He's a surprise pop-up in a game I played.
Okay.
I was looking at the crowd. Like, what the fuck?
And the dialogue between all the various characters, the four main characters you're seeing in that screenshot, in that cover art there. The guy I was talking about this doing interrogation before, that's the guy on the right of the screenshot. And the person who sort of runs and controls the whole American Arcadia is the very top character. And the voice acting and the dialogue. She
looks like she has a nasty Eastern European accent.
So no, she's not. It's American.
Okay, fair enough.
So yeah, the voice acting across the board, the dialogue, the writing is just really, really good, and the way they're presenting the entire story is really good as well. And that's one of the things I thought was a bit of a twist that I didn't sort of see come. Not that it's a big twist per se, but I thought they were doing something. I thought they were doing a different thing when it sort of at the end of the game presented it. So yeah, it is really, really good. Cannot recommend it highly enough. It's the first and only game I've finished this year, basically, which is
fuck.
It's
really stark when you put it in those terms.
Which is just, it's shorter than most of the games I've played this year, but also it just really, really gripped me a lot. So
it seems like a real pacing, like really paced really well.
It is. Nothing outstays its welcome. You're not going, oh, this is dragging too much. This. I wanted more of that. They sort of got the balance basically almost perfect as far as I can sort of see. Except for a couple of things where it dragged a little bit. And if you do fail a particular step and you do get caught by the security people, restarts immediately. You've lost seconds of time basically. So there's no.
Okay, so it does checkpoints itself fairly well as well.
Checkpoints itself very, very well. So there's very, very little penalty for missing stuff. There is a couple of times where I was playing going, I have no idea where I'm meant to go sort of thing in some of the sort of chase scenes. So I sort of got caught a couple of times. What the hell? Where am I meant to try? Oh, okay. Now I see where I got to go. And then once you did that, you sort of back to the races sort of thing. So it's just really, really good. I cannot stress that enough.
Cool.
So yeah, that is basically me. I have even watched the two things before I go on.
I've watched some things too, but yeah, what have you watched?
It's very rare for me. So I think you've already seen the Mario Brothers movie, haven't you? You saw it in theaters, didn't you?
No, I didn't. That's one of the things I watched this week.
Okay, so I've watched it as well. I spotted it on Netflix and didn't realise that was going to be Netflix. I think it was Netflix.
Exactly. I knew it was on Netflix because I got an email about it. So I watched it after work on like Tuesday.
So I watched it last night. I know, Friday night I watched it. I like that. That's really fucking good.
Okay.
You can't get past Chris Pratt, can you? And I don't give a fucking shit about him.
No, so. It's not even that. Like for me, have you seen the trailer for the Garfield animated movie that's coming?
No.
Chris Pratt's Garfield in that.
Oh, okay. I don't care.
But either way, I thought the Mario movie was totally inoffensive, totally competent, but I just thought it was sort of a bit bland, sort of very basic.
Oh, no, 100% agree with that. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't set anything new. It doesn't do anything new. It doesn't say anything really. Very pretty. The story's pretty basic in reality, which is
Mario doesn't like mushrooms.
And it's for all his faults outside of his acting ability, Chris Pratt as Mario was absolutely completely fine. Not bad, not fine. Good, just fine, just okay, inoffensive.
Fine is a very good word for this whole movie.
Yeah, exactly, and it's watchable. It's actually quite watchable.
Yeah,
it's not. I thought it was going to be just really. Not sure what I thought. I thought it was going to be really kitschy in some way and just really, sort of play to the game aspects of the property, and they didn't really.
They do that a little bit.
They're doing it. There's really some spots in it where they do use not mechanics isn't the right term, but they sort of play on the mechanics of the game, and some of the stuff that they do in terms of how they present it and shoot it. There's one scene where a character sits down next to two turtles, and they go into their shell and they just see them going back and forth on the. I won't do it. There's a maybe off camera I'll talk about it. Just to be more specific with what I'm saying. But there's a scene where they.
Yeah, you might. I can't quite remember.
where a character sits down and he squashes one of the turtle characters, and they go back and forth. It hits him, and he's sitting on a bench, so he goes back and forth on the bench for a bit.
Yeah.
It's very, very subtle. You would have picked it up. But so there's a couple of things like that throughout that just make me go, that's kind of funny. That's kind of good. But yeah,
It's like 8 slow-mo shots of Mario flipping over shit.
Yeah.
Or getting hit.
Yeah. But as I said,
it's fine.
It's fine. It's in the amount of angst that whole thing when it was announced and who was playing what and the fact that it existed and that was just so ridiculously stupid versus what they actually produced. Yeah.
Very similar to the Sonic movie, though.
Oh yeah, absolutely, 100%.
There was a lot of bullshit before the Sonic movie, and
Yeah.
This and the Sonic movie to me occupy the exact same space.
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
Totally inoffensive, totally competent,
and even
planned,
I'd add a third one, the Pikachu movie. Add a third one, same thing.
I haven't watched Detective Pikachu yet.
I haven't watched it, but you probably didn't get as much negative hype before it. I don't think than the other two probably did.
I think because Ryan Reynolds has a much better reputation.
Oh, for sure. But that's another one that
Reynolds' Pikachu was weird.
Yeah, but that's another one that sort of was okay. Like it was a good movie. But yeah, I just with the reaction of all that stuff leading up to that movie, it was just so stupid, the reaction to it. Anyway, but yeah, that's my quick review of that movie.
What was the other thing you watched?
So I've watched the first 2 episodes of a series on Apple Plus called I have to get the name of it. It's Monarch something. Legacy of Monsters, I think it's what it's called.
Sounds like a League of Legends fucking thing.
No, it's not. It's
I've seen trailers for this. It's kind of Godzilla-like.
Yeah, it's basically Godzilla. Yeah, it's around the Godzilla kaiju stuff.
Is it a documentary thing or is it?
No, it's a full-on series. It's got Kurt Russell in it, and he sort of makes an appearance at the end of episode 2. Yes, it's even got his. I have to assume it's his son. Let me just check that it is. So it's got a character called Wyatt Russell, and I have to imagine it's his son.
Wyatt Russell definitely seems like Kurt Russell's son.
Yes, so he's the son of.
But he used to play ice hockey.
Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn is that? Yep.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh, the lesser known of those 2 children. Because isn't his sister's Kate Hudson then, isn't it?
Yeah, half brother, I think, or half.
Oh.
I think they're like different mothers, I think, but same father or something like that. I'm not too sure. What is it exactly? Yeah, so Kate Hudson is
Bill Hudson.
Is Bill Hudson, and Goldie Hawn is the mother. So that's the half bit, so to speak. Yeah, so it's like a really, really like Apple Plus. So you've got going a bit of a discussion about streaming services. So you've got Netflix, Disney Plus, Apple TV, and Amazon Prime are your 4 big ones, I'd say, in Australia. There are others in America. You got Stan, yeah, sort of, but not really. But in Australia, they're probably the big 4. In America, you probably got Hulu and other bits and pieces. But in Australia, they're kind of combined into others. But anyway,
Peacock,
yeah, that's another one. Yeah, so but in terms of your
prestige television,
those series, Netflix is just throwing shit at a fucking wall. That's all they do.
They so hard.
They just throw shit at a wall. They'll spend big dollars on stuff, and none of them ever fucking land at all, really.
And then they'll shit can it after like 2 seasons.
Yeah, exactly. And you go, well, that actually kind of was successful, but obviously they've got metrics to imply that it doesn't. So, yeah, what can you do? Disney Plus, they're obviously heavily into the Marvel stuff, as you can imagine, because they're linked to it, obviously. So that's their main thing. And if that doesn't, float your boat or doesn't land for you, then there's probably not much to watch on Disney Plus. In terms of new,
there's like the Simpsons and Futurama and shit like that. It's very Marvel heavy.
Marvel heavy for sure, and Star Wars heavy and all that kind of stuff. Which, that's fine to a degree. I don't mind some of the animated Star Wars series they've done.
You were big on What If.
What If was good, and What If's coming back for a second season. I spotted the other day, which is cool. So,
yes, I've seen that.
So I think there's some stuff it does that's really good, but if you're beyond that sort of the big stuff that they have with part of Marvel and or Star Wars, if it doesn't do anything for you, you've probably got not much. Amazon, Prime, whatever, has got they've got a couple of good series themselves, like Reacher, which is good to watch.
I need to watch that.
Yeah, it's I watched the first couple of episodes of it and liked it, and then I get back to it and then never did. But yeah, it's like that character is way more believable than freaking Tom Cruise's Reacher is, that's for sure.
Yep.
Then you've also got they've got oh Christ, what's the name of the series that's got that?
Invincible's on there?
No, it's not that one. God, what's the other one? Oh no, when I see it straight away.
While you're looking for that, I didn't realise that Home Improvement's on Disney Plus. I didn't think you could get Home Improvement anywhere.
God, what's the series I'm looking for? Why can't it show me?
What's the basic idea of it?
Oh, it's the clear and present danger stuff. Oh, I can't remember the bloody. It's had that comedian.
Jack Ryan.
Thank you, Jack Ryan. That character. Thank you. That's
it's Jim from The Office. Jim from The Office.
Jim from The Office. Yeah, didn't watch The Office. I didn't know who it was. Yeah, so that's that. That series is on the its third series now, maybe fourth one, something like that.
I think that's done, isn't it?
I think it might be done by the end of that season, whatever that next season is. But it might be the next one or this one. Can't remember. But that's excuse me. That's worth watching. They've got other stuff, of course, but that's the main sort of things you watch it. But
fourth season is its last one.
Yeah, that's coming up, isn't it? I think it's about maybe hasn't.
No, this year. It concluded on July 14th. They're doing a spin-off with Michael Pena as Ding Chavez.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, so you've got you've got some decent new original series through that service. And then you've got Apple TV on top of that. And I think Amazon Prime and Apple TV, to my mind, are the opposite of Netflix. They're spending money on really specific things.
Yeah.
And they're doing them really fucking well.
Yes.
In terms of production, in terms of, they're spending their money a bit more, purposely, so to speak. And that's where you get a series like, Jack Ryan, you get a series like The Invincible, like you get, Monarch, Reacher, that sort of stuff. And those shows are really.
And Prime also has those other services like Paramount Plus and Shudder and stuff like that.
Yeah, like you can spend a few extra dollars each month and get a couple of decent services. And Paramount Plus is pretty good because that's the CBS stuff essentially from America.
Yeah, I've got that because for South Park and Numbers. And NCIS Sydney is on there now, which I kind of want to watch, but kind of think is going to be terrible.
It's alright. I've watched the first couple of episodes of it.
It's alright?
It's alright.
Okay, it's inoffensive. It's fine.
It's fine.
Fuck, maybe that's going to be the title, not stick cable in.
It's fine.
It's fine. Dot.
Yeah. Yeah, so in terms of all the four big services in what they're producing, Netflix does do good stuff. They do make stuff occasionally, but they just never seem to stick with it.
Well, the things that they do stick with are the kind of things that most people don't give a fuck about.
Yeah, I mean, it's really what they're, it's just looking at all four services and seeing how they're all doing it they're doing it differently enough from each other. So, you kind of almost, it's like what I'm, the disappointing thing out of all of this is you actually need to be on all 4 services to get your best options available to. If you stick to one, you're going to miss out on Netflix, which occasionally do stuff good. Like the series I like, show I liked from them was last year, I think, was the one with Charlize Theron in it. God, what was that called?
The Old Guard.
Old Guard, thank you. Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah, that comic book is really fucking good, and they're doing the second one.
They're doing a second one of that too, so I don't know when that's out, but they're doing a second one. So they got.
No, it's not. I think that's a next year deal.
Yeah, I guess I don't know when it's coming out, but they know they're doing it. Yeah, so.
Have you watched the Redeem Team on there yet?
I haven't spotted that one. No.
The documentary on the American basketball team when Kobe played.
Oh, I did see that and didn't realize what it was. Okay, I thought. Okay, yep.
Fucking good.
Okay. Yeah, so stuff like that, like just looking at the things, all the 4 services, you kind of need to be subscribed to for them, which is really fucking annoying because it's fucking expensive.
Yeah, I don't have Apple TV. That's the one I don't have.
And that's probably, I think, if you're looking at something really good, that's the best one they have because their series are really good. But again, this comes down to whether you like the stuff they're making, whether that stuff appeals to you or not. It's all bound to that sort of thing.
I think Last Week Tonight is streaming on the. Oh, you buy the seasons on Apple TV. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Anyway. Yes.
Yeah. So they're making some really, really, really good stuff. And they've done 3 episodes of this. Well, Ted Lasso's on Apple Plus. If you ever, that's what.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll.
Very good things about that.
Yeah. I don't think I'd watch it, but yeah, I've heard good things about it. Yeah, obviously they've still
then
got.
If you want HBO shit, you got to get binge.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Or you buy it on Blu-ray, like I did with The Last of Us.
Yeah. Yes, there's a bunch of shows that on Apple Plus that when you sort of read through the description, okay, that sounds really interesting. Like they're going sort of more of a sci-fi angle than I think than all the other ones are doing, which is kind of good. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about that. It's just intriguing. I was going through my, did the Netflix thing, then Disney Plus, and then went to Amazon Prime, then landed on Apple TV with what I was looking for something to watch the other night. I thought, it's interesting.
Yeah.
Like, you look at what they're all doing differently from each other. You just go, you kind of need to be on all of them, which is really irritating. Because they're all doing their different methodology to make stuff work. Netflix are doing the one, as I said before, they just throw shit at the wall, and if something works, great. We'll support it for a couple of years, then we'll drop it. But they'll put
2 or 3 seasons.
Yeah, they'll put 2 or 3 seasons, then they'll drop it. Or they'll spend a shitload of money on a movie and have some bloody A-list actors in it. Like I'm sure there's I couldn't really look at. Didn't take much.
There's a bunch of them.
There's a bunch of them who got some like The Rock's in a bunch of them. Gal Gadot's in a bunch of them. And you go, well, that can't be cheap to get them in to do a movie, because the movies themselves aren't they're not low budget efforts. Like they are full on,
Yeah, they're big proper movies.
Proper movies, which
proper
I think also
blockbuster.
we'd also then get a theatrical release at some point, so they're eligible to awards and shit like that, I think, or whatever. But yeah, so it's just really interesting.
That was also part of the basis for both the writers and the actors' strike, was how do you deal with residuals and all that sort of stuff from a streaming environment where that's not really the same metrics as box office sales.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, it's always very interesting.
But The Boys is one I really want to get to.
That's
and all the shit around The Boys on Amazon Prime.
That's on Prime. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think Prime
there's like 4 or 5 seasons of that, and just
Yeah, so I think Prime and Apple TV are kind of more focused in what they do.
Yes,
Disney's just got what Disney's going to get. They're not really going to spend money on shows like this stuff.
Disney's the 800-pound gorilla that just has Marvel. It's like, here, bitches, wah.
Yeah, but I don't think that service is as good as it could be. And as I said,
what would you change about it though?
I'd make them spend money on things that's not Star Wars and fucking Marvel. That's what I'd be doing. They've got the money. They've got the pedigree. Like, and you say to you guys, we'll spend money on a show for you. People would, climb over dead bodies to be on.
They are very hyper fixated. They're just trying to just milk Star Wars and Marvel for.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. If it worked for them to a degree. I think it's starting to go down now.
Well, the Marvels box office opening didn't, which is a real shame because that movie, I enjoyed the Marvels.
Yeah.
It was the lowest opening for an MCU movie.
Yeah. But yeah, I just think if they spent some of the money they're making on other things, I think that would make that service better. But yeah, anyway.
To an extent, but they like in their mind, they don't need to.
Oh yeah, they don't meet. Oh no,
They're
not
getting
saying.
their numbers from what they need. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Anyway.
Need to take a break before we hit to your game. So we'll do that, and we're back in a moment.
And we're back.
Yep.
We're back. Gus is inside the house. He's finished chewing his bone.
Yep.
I think.
He's around somewhere.
Yep. That was most of the reason for the break.
Yep.
Doggy management.
Yes.
Fun times. And then cable management. Also fun times. I was saying to you before we came back from the break, I'm like just looking at shit, and then I see on the screen just slowly coming off from the edges, you holding this fucking rat nest of fucking cables, like, oh fuck this, rah!
Yes.
It was the funniest shit. Anyway, shall we talk about what I've played?
Yes, we should.
And what I've watched. Bang! Oh bang! Jagged Alliance 3. I have finished it.
Hey.
I didn't end up doing a few of the quests, like some of the side questy sort of things. They were a bit more long-winded, multiple-stepped quests that it wasn't necessarily clear what you were meant to do or where you were meant to go.
Mm-hmm.
So I just sort of went, eh. Some of it was a bit more like, hey, go into each of these areas around this place and you'll find stuff. But it didn't actually tell you where those places were or anything like that. So it's either look it up and figure it out or, fuck it, move on.
Mm-hmm.
I said fuck it and moved on.
Mm-hmm.
I still have some saves from before, like multiple spots before the actual last mission. So if we wanted to do a checkout, still could.
Okay.
But we'll see.
Cool. Yep.
I thought it was a pretty enjoyable campaign overall. They maybe could have and should have launched with some of the additions and changes they made after release.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, I really dug it. I don't. This year has been very good. I don't know if this is going to crack my top 10, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But I still really dug it. I put like 40 fucking hours into it, so maybe even more. But whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Gubbins. Very simple Australian game.
Yeah.
We could almost have a best Australian game category this year.
We could.
Because I've got another game coming up in a moment that's a very good candidate for that as well. Hey, remember Bonza and Type Shift?
Bonds is now a board game. I spotted a PAX the other day.
Fuck off, really?
Yeah, it's a board game. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Oh,
No, I didn't play it. No, sorry. No.
I remember how I talked about I bought the card game Wrong Answers Only. That was apparently at PAX. I may have mentioned it briefly in passing.
May have done. Yeah.
I had to go at that. I played a couple games of that. Fine.
Yep.
Doesn't quite have the staying power of a Cards Against Humanity, which is a shame because one of the two of the creators of Cards Against Humanity, terrible people. Although you kind of have to produce something like that too, in some regards, maybe.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, but anyway, Gubbins is a very cool little word game on iOS. I'm only doing the free version, which is one puzzle a day. Fortunately, there's daily puzzles.
No, okay.
And basically, you get like maybe an 8x8 grid, and you get varying little kind of very sort of like Bonza, but not exactly the same. Where you get you'll get FC or like different combination tiles that'll be 1, 2, or 3 letters, and you're just trying to make words out of what's there.
Okay, so you're not trying to make it because Bonza's based on a theme, wasn't it, from memory? I can't remember
Bonza also had the thing where you're very much setting up the actual crossword puzzle aesthetic.
Yeah, like you're playing
where it was in the shapes.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas this, you're basically putting words in and then running your finger along the word, and it goes, "Hey, it's a word," and you'll get positive and negative gubbins that come out. Like there'll be one that's a lightning bolt, and after a certain number of turns, it'll vanish the letter underneath it, or you'll get one that creates an ing.
Okay, yeah.
There is a quote-unquote starter pack that's $15, gives you infinite games, infinite puzzles, whatever you want to call it, and a few other bits and pieces. I haven't grabbed it yet. I think for now, the free version, just the daily puzzle, is doing enough for me. I do forget to do the daily puzzles. Most of the time I'm doing it just before going to sleep when I'm in bed.
Okay. Yep.
So it's a pretty cool little word, and like you can see there in the key art, it's a word game. It very much is a word game. I like it.
Yeah, cool.
Probably one of the few iOS games I want to say I've actually played this year.
Yeah, the sort of
Anyway,
the mobile game thing is kind of, well, at least for me, I think I'm the same for you. It's kind of stopped. They just don't. They're just not.
Well, I'm not really in too many spaces where I need phone games.
Yeah, I'm in the
anymore.
same boat. Even when, I was until I bought an Ally, basically, until I bought the other one was out. I was, but interesting.
Like Subpar Pool is an iOS game, and I bought it on there, but I basically quote unquote finished it on PC. There's a game called Coffee Golf that came out earlier this year. That's like 5 holes, a daily run of 5 golf holes.
Okay.
But never played it.
Yeah.
And there's a weird fucking scrolling shooter that Bethesda or people linked to Bethesda put out called Mighty Doom. Haven't touched it.
Okay.
I just downloaded it. And Devolver's Tumble Time came out, which they've been plugging that for a while, but I haven't actually touched that either. My phone game for a while, Snap.
Yeah, for sure. They've also put out I didn't realise this until Netflix put out a Valiant Hearts game, which is
the Valiant Hearts sequel came out earlier this year,
which is a Netflix linked thing. So yeah, I actually downloaded that and started playing it like a month or so back, but it didn't. It just wasn't the same as playing on the PC like it was with the first game. So yeah. Yeah, sorry.
Phone games like that, unless you have either a backbone or you Bluetooth a controller to either your phone or your iPad, it's not really the same thing.
Not really the same thing. Yeah.
That's why like small word games and shit like that work a lot better.
Yeah, well, that's sort of Yep.
Lunacid. I did this with Friday Night Fun, Not Just Gone, the week before. I've played it a little bit more. It's an homage to From Software's earlier works, King's Bounty on the PS1, which King's Bounty is like a first-person soul, like obviously because it came out before Dark Souls, you can't really call it a Souls-like, but very much that From type format. It was a pretty fun little stumble for a while. It's got a really cool like PlayStation 1 aesthetic. You can tell they're cribbing from the From Software sort of framework for combat, but the pace of it is really, or can be quite prohibitive because your character's movement is quite slow.
Okay.
Yeah. And it can really hamper your sort of feeling of progress. Like there is a speed stat that you can level up, but even then, when you're leveling it up, it's only going up in very small increments.
Okay. Yeah.
But that's one issue with the progression. The other issue with the progression I ran into was that the point I'm at, there's 2 locations I can go to, but they're both like labyrinths of winding nondescript tunnels where it's really not clear what you're meant to do, where you're meant to go, and you're just randomly sort of stumbling around, fighting enemies, and like I could keep bashing away at it, like absolutely I could, but I got better things to do and more things to play.
Yeah,
I don't really feel like continuing just to stumble these randomly nondescript tunnels, just going, where the fuck am I going? Just randomly stumbling my way around.
Yeah, yep.
So I was just like, I played it for a couple of hours. It's good for what it is. I think if you have a greater attachment to that King's Bounty, that early From work, you might find more here. But the lack of a map sort of functionality and just that sheer maze-like sort of progression is sort of a bit of I really got in the way.
Yep.
So I understood it. Next, Cab Off the Ranks. There we go. Cassette Beasts. So when you were away last week, I'm like, yeah, it's all good. I'll probably do something to Savo. So I'd already started Cassette Beasts on the Saturday.
Yep.
Last weekend. I proceeded to basically marathon that whole fucking thing across that weekend.
Okay.
And then I was going to do the recording of it on the Sunday. I didn't because I felt close to the end, so I just kept playing. And it turns out I had to do it on Monday, do the recording on Monday after work. It's got a great look. It mixes like a sort of 2D pixel art, sort of flat character work with like polygonal environments. And it's a really sort of pretty decently fun Pokemon-like. You don't get too many of those.
Yeah, yeah.
There's some like cool little light environmental puzzles which are relatively easy to do, and you can see here on the key art, like there's some pretty creative monster designs, and the combat system is pretty like fine, but I found it got a bit repetitive because I got myself a really good combo early on, where I was like, the two characters I had in my party were basically able to hit every monster and basically wipe them within 2 hits.
Oh, okay.
most combat encounters I rolled up on.
Yeah.
I liked the music, but it got pretty repetitive because there weren't too many songs on it.
Yep.
Later battles got a bit fucked because even with the turn-based nature, you'd be just getting pounded, and then you'd wipe, and you're like, motherfucker. Then you find your way back, and then basically smash it the next time you go through.
Yeah, okay.
So I don't know what happened then. That was weird. I didn't like being forced to take certain characters into certain fights. Because like there were sort of relationship, I guess, side quests where you're like, I want to take this dude wants me to go do something. He has to come with me. Only he hasn't been with me, so now he's way under leveled compared to what I am.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So that's where I got a little bit pissed off in certain parts. There are a couple of parts where you get abilities from some of the beasts you capture.
Okay, yep.
Like the ability to swim and things like that. You're not told which ones unless you happen to stumble into random people walking around giving you a rumor.
Okay, yeah.
So there was one that I couldn't actually progress to a certain point, or one where I couldn't have an ability because no one had given me the rumor, and I was like, "How the fuck do I get here?" So you either stumble into the solution, or I ended up looking it up.
Yeah, okay.
And this is the game that had Yuri Lowenthal in it.
Okay, that's that one, is it? Okay.
It was really weird. It's like not fully voice acted. It does the thing where like some of the more indie sort of JRPG likes will do like a partial voice sample for each dialogue thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, Yuri Lowenthal was apparently one of them.
Okay.
Like I said, I barged it in a weekend, finishing it in just shy of 17 and a half hours. I would debate whether that was a good idea. Because like, partly because I thought I was close to finishing for like a good 3-4 hours. So I just kept going.
Just kept on going, yeah.
And like, yeah, normally I'd start dinnering and stuff at like 6. That's like to me a good dinner time because then I can couch for a bit and then fall asleep. Or if I really had the energy, get back on here, play games. I didn't get up until 9 o'clock.
Okay.
So I had like a small dinner and then went to bed.
Yeah.
It's good. It's got some interesting ideas for the Pokemon-like thing that it is because you don't, like I said, you don't get that many Pokemon-like games, particularly on PC. Like there's Ooblets, which that also has more of the farming elements, and stuff like that combined. I don't think it beats out much of this year, but I really wanted to show the first hour because they do some really interesting, different visual techniques and sort of jam it all together and make it work. So I did that last Monday, and that's up on the YouTube. Speaking of games, speaking of best Australian games, it's fucking Australia. So, you know that table on Steam where it shows you the new releases? So that's not currently properly there right now because of the autumn sale. But I found this randomly looking at that table. I just saw this game called Australia. I'm like, wait, what the fuck is this? Follow the rabbit hole. It's a first-person shooter set in the outback of Australia in like the 1960s. It's been in early access. You can see there, May 26th, 2021 was the release date. That was the early access release date. It literally just came out like a week or two ago.
In May. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So I played this on Friday Night Fun this week. Also, there's a demo for Immortals of Avium, which I ended up playing on Friday Night Fun. And that game's very it's fine. Another one, it's fine. And Valve did a 25th anniversary update for Half-Life, the original Half-Life, which is, again, pretty cool. Half-Life I like. But yeah, this game, you rock up in this outback town, and you got to go to the pub, and like the first achievement I got was for playing Tour. And I'm like, this is fucking incredible. I walk in, there's this panel on the table. I'm like, what is this? Pick it up, and I get an achievement that pops up, play Tour. I'm like, fuck yeah, let's go. And there's a dartboard. You can start playing darts. It's not cricket. It's not the darts. It's not the cricket darts. It's the 501. So the 180. But this is like there's prospecting. You can get in a helicopter and do rounding up cows.
Yep.
Which I tried flying the helicopter and I didn't find it particularly useful. Or that. It's like if you were to try and review this critically, this is like a 6 or 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
Because some of the combat is a little bit weightless. It's I don't want to sound too harsh when I say this, but it's quite budget in its feel and its look. But it's got a thing, man. It's got a vibe. It's like the sort of immersive sim kind of thing where you can go randomly. Like you pick up money and it's the old Australian dollar notes.
Okay. Yeah.
And if you aren't Australian, I don't know how much this game is going to work for you.
Oh yeah, probably fucking nothing. Probably nothing would land, I imagine.
But like, can you see the mosquito in the key art?
Yeah.
That's the size of the fuckers in the game.
Yeah.
They're fucking huge.
Yeah, I'm looking at the stuff.
And like, you get the spiders.
Looking at the Steam store page at the moment. I'm just going, okay.
Yeah. And you get these fucking kangaroos roll up on you like killer K-roos. And you have to kill them. And like, you get a bounty for picking them up. And there was some fishing. At some point, I'm probably going to run into a crocodile. And like, there's goats that run at you. I did see some emus, but they ran away before I could try and shoot them. Yeah, man, this is a thing. There's a part of me who wants to play it more, but there's also a part of like you bring up the map, and there's at least 20 or 30 points of interest spread across the entire country.
Yeah, okay.
It looks fucking ridiculous. Like what they lack in like tight, weighted gameplay, they make up for in just massive scope. I got a side quest where I had to jump on a lady's roof and fix her antenna so she could watch the footy. It's pretty good. And that was the other achievement I got. There's a roaming border collie, and if you pat it, you get an achievement, and it helps you out for a little bit. This thing's it's way better than it has any right to be, but it's also not that good. I don't know. I dig it. Next, I took in for some service work and new tires because I got onto the freeway and one of my front driver's side tire was fucked. I didn't realize how fucked it was until I got in the freeway where I'm holding the steering wheel like this, trying to keep the car straight. I go to the nearby servo, try to put air in it. The pump's either fucked or because the tire's busted, it won't pump.
Yeah.
There's a tire joint nearby. I go there and dude like hooks it up and goes, "Yep, tire's fucked." I'm like, crap. So I went in yesterday, on Saturday, to get the tires fixed, and I'm like, all right, let's take the Switch. So I just played a bunch more Super Mario Wonder. I've made it to the second official world. I'm just going through, getting the Wonder Seeds, getting the purple coins, getting the flagpoles as I go. Very sort of just not... I barely play... I'm not even playing it at home, really. It's literally when I've been out, and it's like waiting for cars to get fixed. I sat in the corner of Hungry Jack's after getting some breakfast and fucking played Mario for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. I've got Super Mario RPG, because I got that and this for the voucher program that they do on the Switch for like 130. So at some point I'll start Super Mario RPG, but my also feeling of Super Mario RPG is that it is very close to another game I've also started. Again, Super Mario Brothers Wonder, very good for what it is, very creative. I don't think you can play that for any more than about an hour and a half at a time, because you kind of wear out a little bit on just the platforming elements and stuff like that. But this is the game that Mario 64, Super Mario RPG, I feel is very close to in the Sea of Stars.
I've played this as well.
Yes, you have. It was really funny, actually, because where you've got the data scraping for the games, I forgot that because I put cassette beasts up as a checkout, I went to go and add the game for this. And I'm like, it won't let me add. What the fuck? And I sat there for about 10, 15 seconds trying to figure it out. I'm like, oh, wait, it's because I did the checkout. Duh. But yeah, I started playing this on Saturday after getting home from getting car service stuff done, and this feels very much like what Super Mario RPG probably is.
Mm.
I really, really like the art style, which shouldn't be a
Yeah.
surprise because these guys made The Messenger,
Mm.
which that had a fucking great look to it as well.
Yeah, the art style is what attracted me because the game itself, the game itself, it's like an RPG, Japanese RPG, doesn't generally appeal to me. But the art style,
I've never played one beyond for like 10 minutes or so.
Yeah, but looking at the art style on the Xbox dashboard when I first saw it, I thought that really, like everything else on that, like everything else, every other game we made, this thing just stood out because of how different and how unique it was. Not that it's unique per se, but it just isn't normal, like a normal art style. But there's an awful lot of fucking reading in that game, and I think that's.
Oh yeah, that start was start took some doing.
Yeah, I think hopefully get past that, and it might be okay. But I haven't gone back to it to sort of.
It does open up a bit.
Yeah.
The one thing I will say is when you see the book on a pedestal, make sure you save it.
Mm.
Because if you don't, you end up having to maybe go through parts that have a lot of talking.
Yeah.
I found that out the hard way when I beat one like a big boss that set me off on my main quest. I was like, yay, the last part of the tutorial is done, let's go. And then about half an hour later, I died.
Mm.
And because it didn't auto-save, I ended up having to do that boss fight and all the dialogue around it again.
Yeah.
Like, shit. Yeah, there is a part of me that doesn't know how long I'm going to stick with this.
Yeah, that's kind of where I think I'm at with it too. Like, because it's got a lot going for it in terms of its presentation and its style. I think the story itself is pretty decent from what I've done so far.
Seems fine.
But the amount of reading you've got to do, which is that's normal for these types of games. I'm just not sure I'm in a mood for doing a lot of reading at the moment, and that's probably where it's probably going to fall down by the wayside. I mean, yeah, it's got a lot of things going for it. That's the one.
Also that very much that JRPG style too.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, for sure. It's got a lot of things going for it, but it's got couple of big things not going for it, and I think that's probably going to sway it to the point where I probably won't get back to finishing it before any time soon. So.
I think the framing device of Mario and
certainly not with my Sim World build coming up in a couple of literally 4 or 5 days.
Yeah, so I was going to say we'd do it this episode, but I think it's better to do it. Our next episode is like, what are we going to try and what are the main things we want to try and get to before Game of the Year?
Oh, yeah.
I think that's a better conversation for next podcast, so I'm floating it now so you can think about it.
Yep. If we ever played this year, basically.
But because I've got, Game Pass-wise, I've got Lies of P on deck.
Mm-hmm.
But I really want to start Remnant 2. I got to start Remnant 2 at some point, but you don't want to play 2 Souls-likes at one time.
No, absolutely no.
I got Starfield installed on Game Pass, but I don't think I'm going to get to it. Thirsty Suitors is one I definitely want to get to. I'm hearing very good things about that. But Sea of Stars is the first game that I've seen in fucking ages where the Xbox achievements are actually popping up on the screen. I don't know what happened. I've been getting the sound for the achievements, but not getting the actual little pop-up box on the screen.
Yeah, okay.
And it's been pissing me off. I haven't been able to figure it out for fucking 2 years. And I don't know what I did, but it seems to be working with Sea of Stars. So maybe it'll keep working. But yeah, I need to make a start on Remnant and fucking so many other things. But again, that's a conversation for our next podcast episode. With the perceived similarities, or what my perceived similarities between this and Mario RPG are, between that, you do, particularly in the combat, it's that time a button press to do a little bit more damage, and that very turn-based menu-driven combat. As sucky as this sounds, I don't know how long I'm going to stick with this because I really like the graphical look of it. Musically, it's at least solid.
Yeah.
But it's not auditorily. It's not sort of so engaging that I don't have to have another video playing on the screen next to it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. I'll keep chipping away at it, and how long I stick with it, who can say? But yeah, so that's my game. I've also viewed 4 films.
Mm.
Yes, literally in the space of about a week. So I talked about this last episode. Looking to buy the new Ninja Turtles movie, Mutant Mayhem, on the Prime store, and how that was a fucking shit show on PC.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up grabbing it on PlayStation, like the PlayStation Prime app.
Mm-hmm.
Watched it. It's got a fucking incredible visual style.
Mm-hmm.
In a totally different way than Spider-Verse. Like, Spider-Verse is very computer. Like, this is also very tightly computer generated, but it's got more of the sort of pencil art,
Yeah, it's a bit
sort
more,
of like shading style to it.
Yeah. The Spider-Man, the Spider-Verse stuff is kind of really, really jagged, really solid, really sharp.
Yeah.
Sort of visuals to it, whereas I think most other movies, well, not that I've seen this, but it's more smooth surfaces, curves, rather than sort of sharp angles and stuff like that, which is yeah.
I think I enjoyed this movie, but I think my nostalgia for the original animated series and what the villains should be got in my way of enjoying this.
Okay.
Because like if you know like the Ninja Turtles stuff, you know that Baxter Stockman becomes the Fly.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bit of that here, but it's a character called Superfly, voiced by Ice Cube.
Okay.
Which I think there's a certain racial thing there with like, yo, Superfly. But they set up a sequel with a post credits and the very obvious next villain, because there's a certain specific villain in Ninja Turtles canon that doesn't show up at all in this movie.
Yep.
I'm hopeful for Casey Jones because Casey Jones is cool.
Mm-hmm.
April O'Neil, they do a little bit differently. They have her about the same age as the Turtles in this.
Okay.
Which I thought that was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, like I enjoyed it pretty well, but yeah, that nostalgia sort of got in the way for me a little bit.
Mm.
I rented Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
Okay.
I had to know. I've been so curious about this thing for fucking ages. It seemed like the core conceit of Christopher Robin is dropped in the first 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you see him rock up and then you think he's dead. The term being you think. His wife dies in a pretty bad way. I can say a lot. I've written a lot on here. But, like, I'm not going to go over all of it because I think it'd wear a bit thin. But there's a real weird mix of, like, American, European, and English accents that creates this weird clusterfuck of just, like, Christopher Robin, you can tell is not even English. The dude who plays is, like, some European accent of some kind. And it's just, like, there's this weird southern dude who's, like, apparently in the middle of England going, hey, this guy's over here. I was like, what the fuck? This thing, the concept in itself has such potential, but god damn it, they fuck it into the dirt early on and then just keep digging. Like, there's just ridiculous logic leaps or gaps. Like, some of the most ridiculous gaps. Go on.
So is it horror, or is it like, what exactly is the genre?
It's sort of like a horror slasher thing.
Okay.
It's like the prime conceit is Christopher Robin hangs out with Winnie the Pooh and Rabbit, Piglet, Eeyore, Owl. Tigger doesn't get mentioned. And then he goes away to medical school. But because he leaves, they're all like, oh, fuck humans, and get Rabbit, and they don't talk anymore, and they just start, after a while, they have no food, so they kill Eeyore. This is like literally the first 3 minutes of the movie.
Okay.
They kill Eeyore so they have something to eat, and they just go Rabbit and go completely fucked up.
Yep.
But in going Rabbit and getting completely fucked up, Winnie the Pooh turns into like a Terminator. like, there's a part where he goes like, rah! Swipes down on this dude. The dude's half his face comes off, but Winnie the Pooh has no claws.
Yeah.
It's real dumb. Like, there's just garbage fire levels of acting. So you get a point where Pooh and Piglet are shuffling like they're fucking zombies. There's massive plot holes where, like, you get these 5 random characters have nothing to do with Christopher Robin show up at this house. There's these 2 girls that are in a relationship. Go into a room. It's like, you know, the heart-shaped flowers that make a heart on a bed. You get that, and the other girl's like, oh yeah, okay. Oh, I think we moved a bit fast. and then just before they die, they say, "I love you." It's like, wait, what? A girl's got mad psych trauma, and she happens to remember out of nowhere she has a fucking gun, which is a revolver, in fucking England. The gun apparently only has one bullet in it as well, because the character shoots it, busts off one shot, and it either misfires or the rest of the fucking bullets aren't loaded. Some of the characters are just some of the dumbest motherfuckers in existence, and it's also just got some real trash tier effects and action. It's spectacular how bad this thing actually is.
I'm just on the
best part?
I'm just on the Winnie the
Wikipedia
Pooh
page?
Wikipedia page, and its budget is reported.
Go down.
What's its budget reported as? What did you read that bit?
100,000.
100,000. That answers your question.
$100,000. Yeah. And like, dude's talking about, oh yeah, I'm looking at doing a sequel with 5 times the budget. I'm like, okay, yeah, 500,000. That's really going to make a difference.
Make a big difference, yeah.
And there's also the part, if you go further down that Wikipedia page, he wants to do an expanded universe with a Bambi and Peter Pan movie sort of similar. So it's like the fucking cinematic universe of the fallen into the public realm. Oh. And like it's fucking terrible. But it's terrible in like the most hilarious of ways. It's like you see Winnie the Pooh, like, no you don't, you see Piglet chasing this girl in a pool, going like this. What's this? And fucking hits her.
Sorry,
it's like, you're doing this, not even close.
Yeah.
It's like, what? Oh god. Fucking terrible. I needed to wash that absolute shit stain out of my mouth. I finally got around to watching Sisu.
Sure that is.
Largely Finnish movie.
Okay.
Basically set in World War II, towards the end of World War II. The Nazis are leaving. They're getting the fuck out of Finland, but scorched earthing. It's got some great motion graphics in the opening.
Yep.
I did write down how a Nazi got killed, but I think it needs to be seen. It's just fucking gloriously violent, spectacularly entertaining, paced super well. And apparently Hideo Kojima saw it and wants to make a game featuring the main character.
Okay, great.
The main character speaks for the first time in the last 20 seconds of the movie. He doesn't say a fucking thing the whole movie, just fucks up a bunch of Nazis. Oh, it's spectacular. It's fucking great. Out of the 4 movies I've watched since the last podcast, this is the best one. It's literally, what if John Wick was finished and got fucked off with a bunch of Nazis? It's amazing. So yeah, that's been my last couple of weeks. Watching like the most dog shit movies humanly imaginable, and then watching fucking incredible movies following it. I don't have any must listens because I haven't really listened to anything new or anything new that's really grabbed me. There's been stuff happen, not much really. I already talked about Half-Life's 25th anniversary, blah 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 blah. The only half decent release this week is Turok 3. Let's talk about SteamWorld build. So like, there's nothing interesting coming out this week, I feel, except if you haven't played Rollerdrome and you have an Xbox Series X, you need to play that shit. That shit's fucking amazing. But otherwise, why should we be done?
We could do a beginning at the end, though. Well,
let's go to the beginning of the end. I basically just did the beginning of the end.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure, let's go.
Yeah, let's do that. Just to be normal and formal.
Let's fit. Yeah. I like holding soft drink cans like this in my hand because it makes me feel like a giant. It makes my hand feel fucking huge. I'm like Andre the Giant palming this fucking thing. I keep saying, I've seen clips occasionally of an Andre the Giant documentary where it talks about him sinking like 113 beers in one sitting. It's like, man, that dude was a machine. I wonder why he died before he turned 50. So yeah, like I said, man, there's quite a few actual items coming out this week, but the only main one worth talking about or worth even really doing much with is SteamWorld Build.
Mm-hmm.
I have already said a couple times in a couple different places there probably won't be a Friday Night Fun this week because I need to do some prep for a minor medical procedure, and it's not going to be. I imagine the prep's not going to be too much fun.
But by your description the other day on Slack, yeah, I'm glad. Better you than me.
Yeah,
Put it that way. Put it that way.
I know, right? Fuck. So yeah, but we'll be back in a couple of weeks for the final podcast episode of the year. Where we talk about one of the things I really want to hit is what are we looking at trying to get through outside of you basically going all the stuff I've played but I haven't finished yet. Maybe there's things you haven't played that you want to try and get to, perhaps. I've got quite a lot of those. God damn it. But yeah, is there anything else?
No, I think we're kind of done. So,
all right,
yeah.
so the problem... I'm going to... Go on, sorry.
Yeah, so we'll do some video stuff between now and the next episode of this show, maybe, depending on how things go. I might do something solo myself, I'm not too sure yet. If not, it'll be the next podcast in a couple of weeks' time. We may try and squeeze in... When do you start? When's your last day? When's your actual first day of...
My last day is the week after our, for now, final episode.
Okay, so like the third week of December or something. Like the...
the 14th is technically my last day.
Okay. Alright.
So I will still likely do Friday Night Fun mostly through the holidays.
Yeah. Yeah, we might do...
I ain't got much planned.
We'll probably do the odd video through the holidays as well, just to keep that stuff ticking over. But yeah, nothing scheduled per se for basically the rest of the year, really. Because things are just a bit up in the air at the moment. Yeah, with stuff going on. So yeah, but definitely next podcast next fortnight for sure. And then we'll figure out from there after that, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Twitch. I will just quickly say twitch.tv/Enemy Starship for those Friday night shows. I'm pretty confident I'm not going to do one next week.
Yeah.
I'll see how the day goes before my normal start time because I'm not going to be at work then on that day. Because I already know what that day is going to bring me or what I've been told that day is going to bring me, and I don't want to be at work to try and deal with it.
Or on a stream trying to deal with it either.
No. We'll see. So, like I said, we'll see what the day brings.
Yep.
So yeah, let's call it there.
Yep.
This has been episode 291 of the Should I Play This Game podcast. Graham Bunks.
Thank you very much, Steve. We'll be back in a fortnight. All things being equal.
Word. Cool. Yeah. Buy some stuff. There it is.